What's up, everybody? Troy Cartwright here. Welcome back to another episode of 10-Year Town. On Thursday of this week, we are dropping a brand new Q&A episode, so stay tuned. Look for that thing on Thursday. It'll just appear in your podcast feed like normal. And if you have a question to submit, you can do that at 10yeartown.com. Thanks. Today's guest is the great Alysa Vanderheym. You know Alysa from her work with Jameson, Rodgers, and Luke Combs on Cold Beer Calling My Name, with the FGL's Talk You Out of It, and most recently for her Grammy-nominated work, Rolling Up the Welcome Mat with Kelsea Ballerina, which she produced and co-wrote a few of the songs on. In this episode, we talk about what it's like to go to the Grammys and be nominated for one, how she cultivates a vibe in the room, and so much more. I'm so inspired by this episode, and I know you guys will be too. So without further ado, here she is. Like, I know where you write, but like, do you write out of your house now?
Mainly I do, yeah.
That's sick. Do you still have that room?
I do, but
Nice.
it's just nice to be like cozy, and
Yeah.
it's a little more spacious than my spot.
But do you have
at home
snacks?
house. Do I have snacks? Sometimes.
Okay.
It depends. I do have coffee though. I have really good
This is
coffee.
what I'm always thinking about when I'm writing at someone's house. I'm like,
Do they got snacks?
are they going to have snacks?
I will.
Like, do I need to stop?
I will always order Postmates for everyone.
Oh.
So
Well, that's pretty dope.
that's nice.
That I always feel weird about that. I'm
you
like,
eat before the right.
I eat before and then I like get Chipotle or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
I
after.
feel like you're a Chipotle king.
Dude, I've been eating too much Chipotle.
I don't think there's so much thing.
I think there is.
Really? You don't get sick of it?
I don't like it, but I go like every day.
You should hit.
It's because it's hitting that need for me of the I can order on the app. I drive there. I'm a very impatient person.
That's fair.
So it's just ready to go.
You could hit Kava.
Yeah, I
But
don't
it's
like
not-
I don't like Kava.
Okay.
The service is atrocious.
Okay.
Have you noticed this?
It's just a buffet thing. How is it bad?
I don't know. I feel like every time I go
They just
in
like
there,
hate that you're there.
they
hate their jobs.
I'm bothering them.
Yeah.
And I don't. And at one point, they took away my favorite menu item,
Okay. So that you're revolting.
and I was like,
Yeah. Fuck you.
I'm done.
Yeah. That's so
I
fair.
can't take this anymore.
I've never been to Chopped. I hear that's pretty good.
Same thing, but you got to go to the mall,
I know.
and
I know.
that's just.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
not.
true.
I'm not trying
There's
to
a
do
Chipotle everywhere.
that.
Yeah.
Well, I always start this thing off with the same question,
Okay.
which is, how long have you been in town?
I've been in town. I get it because of the 10-year.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I moved in 2012, so that
Nice.
makes me 12 years.
Dang,
Right? Yeah.
that's right. Where
Which is
from?
Pretty on schedule.
Yeah.
I moved from Seattle, but I'm
schedule.
from Northern California, but I was going to school in Seattle at the time.
Oh, really?
At Seattle University.
What were you studying?
Literally nothing. I was just there because I had like applied in high school, and I
Okay.
did like a gap year, so I like deferred my acceptance. So I was like,
What'd you do in your gap year?
I went to India and I went to Cuba, which was so fun.
That's sick.
Yeah, it was sick, and I got like college credit. It was like with a group. It was like this whole program. It was really dope.
Dang.
Yeah,
Where in
But
Cuba were you in? Like,
I was in Havana mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been to Havana.
Havana's cool. I mean, it's so
very
third
cool.
world though. It's like,
Yeah.
I've never been to a country where it's like used to be communist or like still is, I guess.
Yeah,
But it was
yeah.
like,
No, it's
wild.
It's really
the
wild.
food is not good.
no.
The people are lovely.
The
Everyone knows.
the food is okay in a couple places.
Okay, that's good. I mean, the people, I'm sure it's gotten better since I've been there because it's been like literally 10 years since I've been
I went in like 2018.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's gotten better then.
The food was pretty lit.
Yeah. I literally went when Americans couldn't go. I had to go through like Mexico.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was fun. But
Yeah.
like everyone knows how to dance there, which was intimidating.
They got
I was
the
like,
culture.
I've never felt so white. I was like, yeah. And they were like,
All right. Okay. So you're in Seattle,
yeah.
and then what happens?
And then I realized, I mean, I didn't have a major at Seattle. I was just there to like basically make sure I wanted to do music. And
Okay.
then I found out that Belmont here has a songwriting major.
Gotcha.
So my parents were like, you're going to college. I was like, okay, well then I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I transferred, didn't know anyone. I lived in Wedgwood, Houston. Like my rent was like $400 a month. It was amazing.
Dang.
and
Not anymore.
slept on an air mattress for probably the first 5 years of living in Nashville, honestly.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
Brutal. But
That's crazy.
Anyways.
So you
Okay, more like 3 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Same thing.
But did you major in songwriting?
Yeah.
Was that pretty sick?
It was cool.
Did you learn how to write songs?
I learned a lot, actually. I mean, I didn't have as many songwriting classes as I wanted to have.
Yeah.
But I definitely learned a lot. I studied a lot. I studied a lot of Blake Shelton and just the craft of how to write his country songs.
So what? Because I took some songwriting classes at Berkeley.
Oh yeah.
So what did they what's something that you, I don't know, how do they teach it to you? I'm wondering if it was similar to my experience.
We learned certain concepts about how to write a lyric, the economy of a lyric, how to make each chorus mean something every time you hear it, to add something new in the second verse to make the second chorus have more weight, just little tricks. I don't know.
Are you studying Austin by Blake Shelton? How does this say?
I mean the studying was just on my own time. I would just listen to stuff and be mind blown by some of these Mine Would Be You and so many, just that's a great example of oh my God.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Such an amazing song.
Yeah. And then I remember the first time I wrote with Jesse Alexander, who wrote that song and a bunch of Blake Shelton songs.
Yeah.
I was so starstruck. And honestly, I still am.
Yeah.
I'm I can't believe I'm friends with you.
Same.
You're literally the sickest writer ever.
She's so sick.
She's so sick.
She's very talented. She wrote The Climb.
It's
unbelievable.
She wrote Drink on it.
Yep.
Every podcast I do, I just talk about Jesse Alexander, honestly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how did after school, when did you get done? 2015?
I graduated in 2014, actually. Sorry.
That's all right.
2014.
Okay.
6 months late because of my transfer situation.
Gotcha.
And then I just studied how to make tracks.
Were you making tracks at that point, or?
I was I had tinkered on Logic and GarageBand.
Yeah.
But I never took it seriously.
Yeah.
I would just play around.
Did you have some, were you I want to get a pub deal?
Yes.
What was your?
I just wanted a pub deal.
Okay.
Because I was working at a restaurant at the time and I was how am I going to get out of this?
Yeah.
I need a pub deal.
Yeah. So how'd you find one?
My plan was to have a handful of songs that I had written and done the demo for.
Gotcha.
To just show to publishers or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I had them. I made a few key co-writing friends in Belmont.
Gotcha.
And just collected some songs that I'd written and did the demo for. I mean, they're I'm sure terrible, but it got me in the door.
Yeah.
And I had done a demo for Brett Young at the time, who didn't have a deal yet.
Okay.
Because we had a mutual friend, and he was writing with Jesse Frazier at the time, and I think that's how Jesse found my name. And so then that was the end of that. Then he just signed me to Major Bob.
Okay, because that's
my first.
Is that where he was at the time?
So he was.
Gotcha.
He was just starting to write, and he was the publisher there. WP Publishing, I believe, at Major Bob, which is a small indie company started by Garth Brooks' manager, Bob Doyle. But
yeah. You had a sick room over there.
It was the best room.
It's a great room.
When I first signed there, it was a small room, but then Jesse left to start his own company, and then I got his room. It's the best.
Yeah. Good
I miss
vibes.
it. I miss it so much.
I got a lot of good memories in that room for sure.
Same.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you sign with Major Bob.
Mm-hmm.
How long were you there?
I was there 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Standard first deal situation.
Yeah. Was it going good?
It was going great.
Yeah.
I loved my first deal.
Awesome.
It was awesome.
Hell yeah.
All my publishers, I had Jesse at the beginning, and then Tina Crawford and Chandler Thurston.
Yeah.
They did such a good job of connecting me with my key co-writers, that landed me my first cuts and my first single. And yeah.
That's awesome.
It was the perfect first deal.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your first single, was that Cold Beer Calling My Name?
My first single was Talk You Out of It. FGL cut that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was with Hunter and Jameson.
I love that
Hardy.
song.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Yeah. That's sick.
Yeah, I think it got to 8 or something.
It was close.
It was close.
Was Cold Beer Calling My Name the first number one?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that rang the bell, which was nice.
What did that?
Same crew.
What did
Except
that?
I don't think Hardy's on it. But yeah.
What did that feel like?
It was just like a relief. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Because how long had it been at that point?
I was probably like 3 years into my deal at that point, or 3 or 4.
Okay.
I think that went number 1 in like 2019, right before COVID. And I had signed my deal in 2015. So it's like towards the end of my deal, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang. What do you mean? So when you say like relief, like what do you mean?
Just like, because there's so many like close calls. Like I feel like we all have like songs that are picked to be the single and then like get to 20 or like 8 or then, you know, or it's on track and then the artist gets canceled or something.
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, there's a lot of factors that are outside of our control. And then so to have something actually go up the chart and ring the bell is like super cool.
Yeah.
It's like winning the lottery, honestly. Because there's so many great songs in this town that are written all the time.
Yeah.
And the chances of your song being selected to be a single.
Yeah, like all the hoops a song has to jump through.
Exactly.
Just to get cut.
Just to get cut. I mean, that's...
Start there.
Just to get cut.
And then, okay, it gets cut. And then it's like...
Does it make the record?
And then it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Now it's, oh my God, it's featuring Luke Combs.
Right.
So like...
That was nice insurance for sure.
That probably helped.
Yeah.
But it's a great song.
Yeah.
Did you like... Do you remember, like, did you do anything crazy to celebrate? Like,
we just literally drank beer.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. I don't think we did anything to celebrate.
Yeah.
Except for that. It was a good time. It was like nice because it was like with the boys. Like,
the homies.
Those are like the homies that I wrote with all the time.
Yeah.
So to have that together was awesome.
That's so sick.
Like, yeah.
All right. So your first deal's over.
Yeah.
At some point. So what happens next?
So then I go and sign with Jesse again.
Okay.
And he had started something called Rhythm House.
Yeah.
So he had like Brandon Day, Carrie Barlow, who was also at Major Bob with me, and then went to Jesse when his deal was over.
Gotcha.
Stephen Lee Olsen was there. It was like a good little crew.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was that was another deal. Now I'm in my second deal with him again, but
I haven't worked with Jesse that much.
Yeah.
But everyone like speaks
he's the king.
So highly of him.
He's
and
literally
he's clearly so talented.
He's such a mentor. Like he has been from the very beginning. He always believed in me and like saw my potential and
that's sick.
Knew how to like, I don't know. I would always like think about him and think about like the highest standard for like how to operate and like how to just, you know, be in this business. Yeah. And so he's been such a constant mentor for me. That's
sick.
Yeah.
What is that like? What does that look like? Like, what does mentorship look like?
I mean, honestly, I feel lucky to have that because so many people don't have that.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, he's just like a role model, I would say. Like, and I could always send him songs and be like, what do you think about this mix? Yeah. What do you think about, you know, and he would always like push me to turn in songs faster and like just up-tempo songs, you know. He's just like a business guy, but also like such a good creative guy with a good taste in music. And yeah. So he was literally like the best.
So does he like give you, so you like turn in a track?
Yeah.
And he'll just like give you.
Yeah. I mean, if I ask for it, he's not like going to give me like unsolicited. Usually, sometimes he does, but I'm always welcome. I always like love to hear what you have to say, but
welcome criticism.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. And he like, he taught me how to make a track from the very beginning. Like when I was like, didn't know anything, like how to, you know, make a song feel bigger. And just like dynamics and
how do you make a song feel bigger?
Just more sounds, man.
Triple stack the vocal.
Yeah, for sure. All the harmonies.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, he would give me like all his presets for stuff, and I don't know.
That's awesome.
Samples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Having mentors is huge.
It's huge.
It's like having a champion. Like I don't know. I just realized it at various points in my life. Like when you have a champion. Somebody in your corner, and then, you know, sometimes like it goes away. Yeah. Because they change jobs or
for sure.
Or whatever. And you're like,
right. You're like, oh, where'd my person go?
And it's like, it's never quite the same.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah. When he left Major Bob, I was like, because he left like a year after I'd signed there.
Yeah.
And I was like bummed. But then Chandler and Tina like were crushing it. And I was like really close with them too. So
yeah.
It was good. But
I don't know. How did you find those people that you started writing with like originally? Like Hunter Phelps and all
I
those
credit
guys?
it to my publishers, like
Really?
Chandler, Tina, Jesse. Like they linked us. They linked like all those people. Like they had their ear to the ground. They knew
it was what was bubbling up.
Yeah. And I trusted them, and I was still learning. I still am, but like they taught me so much. They're such good writers, and they're actually country people. Like so, I'm learning. Like okay, so what country people do?
This is how you fish.
Yeah. The country color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is how you fish.
I don't really know how to fish.
Same.
I wrote a song about fishing last week.
Nice.
And I was like, I'm like ruining my credibility right now. But no, I was like, all right, man, like, would you say this?
Yeah, no, that would be me. They'd be like 4x4. I was like, what's a 4x4? That's like the lamest excuse, but
no, I love it. Yeah, I was I feel like for me, fishing, something that I think I would be into. I just like haven't done it yet.
I just like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't leave my house.
I just don't want to take a hook out of a mouth.
It is kind of sad.
It hurts. It would hurt me. I'm just
It's just
but then I'll eat a fish later at dinner easily. But
so it's fine.
It's fine. I just like.
Yeah. Well, you've done so much cool stuff, so I don't even know where to start. But I was driving over here and I was thinking about some of the things I wanted to ask you about. And one of my favorite things that you've done is this, I guess, rolling up the welcome mat. Is it an EP? Is it an album? Like, what is it?
I guess it's...
How many songs is it?
I think it ended up being 7.
Okay.
Or something. But it ended up being like in the running for like albums for nomination time. So I guess it's technically an album, but it was definitely like a shorter EP style.
But it was so dope.
Thanks, dude.
It sounded, and I know I've told you this before in person, but like, I just remember when it dropped and it had all the video stuff as well. I like watched the whole thing.
Sick.
Like I had not listened to anything. So I just pressed play on YouTube and watched the whole thing and was like,
that's cool.
Oh my God. Like this is like genius level. Like
that's Kelsea, dude.
It's crazy.
She's a genius.
It was the like caliber of the music and the visuals and the packaging of the whole thing. It was just so well done.
I was very proud to be a part of it.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
So how did that like, cause you produced the whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, did she just call you up one day?
Well, we had been writing for the album that came out before that, Subject to Change, for a while. So we had rapport writing and like we were comfortable with each other and she trusted me and everything.
Yeah.
So it just kind of it made sense. She was like going through the divorce and she was like, I want to write an EP about this. Like, I just need to get it off my chest. Yeah. It wasn't really intended as like a project it was like a side thing, just like to get it off her chest. You know?
Yeah. Like therapy or something.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
So, and it was kind of like we didn't really like write a lot of songs for it. We maybe like 1 or 2 songs didn't make it.
Gotcha.
So it was pretty like concise as far as how many songs we wrote.
Did y'all do it like all at one time?
Like over the course of a few months, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like, 3 months or so.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then she was like, I want to release it on Valentine's Day. Like ironically, I was like, oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Working over Christmas. We just like got it done.
Trying to get it done.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But it was easier to get it done because it wasn't that many songs. And some of them were like more like stripped back. So it wasn't like I had to do a lot of hours. Like
when it was just, it's a small group of people. So it's like not a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah. It was literally just her and I writing and producing it all. And then we had crazy. 1 day of like overdubs in the studio with like some other musicians. But it was pretty like intimate on that level. So
did that make it go faster?
I would say it did. And what made it go faster is just like we weren't second guessing songs or anything, or it was just like, okay, she had her vision of like what titles and like what she wanted to say.
Yeah.
The through line was there. It was just a matter of executing it.
Right.
So yeah, that was her little brainchild. Well, genius.
Crazy.
Yeah. And so neither of us knew people would like respond the way they did. It was just like.
And then got nominated for a Grammy.
Yeah.
Was that like,
that's crazy.
Was that like a pretty sick day? Like,
It was sick.
Did you know?
No. We had gotten nominated for a CMA.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And then that like gave me hope that we might get the Grammy nom.
Is that like, I mean, is that how it works? Like,
I don't know.
If you get nominated for one thing, it's like,
I don't
maybe
think so.
more likely.
I don't think so. Because like so many people get nominated for CMAs and don't get nominated for Grammys.
Yeah. It's like a different ecosystem.
It's different. But it was an honor to be nominated for that. That's
the stuff we dream about, you know?
It really is. I was like, oh, all right.
Like, how does one find out they're nominated for a Grammy?
She like had this little like watch party at her house the day of where they announce it.
Yeah.
On like, I guess they stream it. And so she had it like telecasted on her TV. And then it was just like her and her mom and some friends. And we just like drank mimosas and we were just like watching as they announce it. There's actually a video somewhere on Instagram.
Yeah.
Of us just
I think I've seen it.
Freaking out. But yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Did you go?
Oh yeah.
What is it like? What are the Grammys like?
The Grammys.
Is it cold in there?
Not too bad, actually. You would think it would be. It was comfortable.
Okay.
But I also wasn't like, I had like, a suit on and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm so worried about the temperature of the Grammys.
I mean, I feel like you would think it'd be cold, like in an arena.
It looks cold.
Yeah. It was cool. The coolest part was just sitting there and looking around, sitting on the floor, looking around and knowing that like I got myself to the Grammys. Like I'm just sitting here because of like what sick. I did. Like that's just like sick.
That's
and
so
then
sick.
It was just Kelsea and I and Lionel Richie and his wife at the table. And I was just like.
So you're at a table.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Yeah.
So what is it? Are there, is there like a bar? Is there food?
There's like, there's like food at the table. There's like, I definitely got caught on camera actually eating a grape. There's like a little charcuterie at the table.
Are you not supposed to eat?
I don't know. I mean, the camera, it was literally like filming right here and I was like, first time with the Grammys.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Gotta try the grapes. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then did y'all like do, I don't know, after party stuff like that?
We went to dinner with like my parents, Kelsea's parents, and then our friends and her team. It was like at Craig's or something. I think it was Craig's, in LA.
Yeah.
Just like a little family moment, which was really nice.
That's so sick.
And then we just went to like a bar or two afterwards. We didn't really do any like official after parties. We went to Laney's after party. And yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time because Jessie Jo, which is all like we're all really tight with her.
Yeah.
She was having a big week because she was up for Songwriter of the Year, which is insane. I can't imagine that honor.
Yeah.
So we were all just celebrating.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
It was so sick. It was definitely like a core memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love what you said, like, I got myself to the Grammys. It's
like, that was the coolest part.
Was
so looking
sick.
around and being like, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not like somebody's +1 or something. It's like, I produced this shit.
Yeah.
That's so amazing. What else are you excited about right now?
Oh, what am I excited about? I'm just excited that I'm just like still learning how to do this. Like I'm still learning how to balance production and writing and like my time and
yeah. How do you like split your time intentionally? Oh, I'm going to take this many days
it's a learning curve for sure. Because the EP, like I said, was like a short project.
Yeah.
That lasted a few months. And now we're doing the next Kelsea record, which is so fun, but it's like longer span. So I'm like learning how to juggle that and then also write. And
how many days a week do you write usually?
Usually 4.
Oh wow.
I would say.
That's a ton.
So yeah, that might need to be scaled back a little bit. But yeah. It's just I don't know how people with families do it.
I don't either.
Like I don't know how you make a quality record, write quality songs, turn the demo around, spend time with your family, spend time by yourself.
Which is important.
For
me, especially.
Yeah. Like have a day of rest. Like it's just like.
Yeah.
It's wild. So I'm like learning, but.
Yeah. It freaks me out.
Yeah.
Like
trying to start a family at some point, I'm like, where am I going to find the time?
I know.
I guess people figure it out.
People figure it out.
Ashley Gorley's got a bunch of kids.
He does.
So he's figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's figured out.
It can be done.
It can definitely be done. Are you doing like demos like day of? Are you trying to get faster?
I go through phases. Like, I go through phases where I'm like really quick, and then other phases where I'm like, I don't know what to do on this, and then I'll just like, and then I'll be like overwhelmed with so much stuff, and then I won't do anything.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it depends.
It's hard.
Honestly, it depends on my mental health and like just how good I'm feeling creatively and stuff.
Yeah.
It really fluctuates.
Well, it's hard.
But I'm trying to be more consistent.
It's hard when you're not that inspired.
Yeah.
To just,
I know.
Even if it's like, for me, it's like, oh my God, I don't really have any titles right now.
I know.
And I got 4 writes this week and I gotta
just make something out of nothing.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm like, okay, well, tonight I need to go home and like look through my, I've got my little idea engines that I, fire up every now and then.
Yeah.
Go fishing for ideas.
It's tough, especially when you do it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like the world doesn't need another good song. It needs another amazing song.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's hard.
It's hard.
How did you first, when you wanted to learn how to make tracks, how did you do that? Like what at your starting point when you were at 0?
Yeah.
Did you just open up Logic and watch YouTube? Or I would ask friends?
Yeah, I would ask friends. Will Weatherly, who's another producer and songwriter in town, was one of my earliest friends. So was Zach Abend. And they they were doing it before me. And so I would go to their studios and just like watch them work on Pro Tools and like ask them questions. And literally I would just go over there and like watch them make demos. And I was on Logic at the time when I first started.
Gotcha.
And so I would start to make the transition into Pro Tools. And it just was like a slow process, but I basically like locked myself in my room for like 5 months or whatever.
Yeah.
And just like learned, which I'm so glad I did.
Yeah.
Best decision I ever made.
What? Switching to Pro Tools?
No, just like learning how to run tracks and produce and stuff.
Yeah.
And there is a difference between there's a difference between being people like to call you a track guy here.
Yeah.
There's a difference between that and then being a producer.
What's the difference?
I mean, being a producer, you're like a tastemaker. You have to have a vision for everything and understand how sounds go together. And it's on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
And you're informing the culture with your production. I think being a track guy is you're making a song, you're making a demo to sell a song.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between that and production.
Yeah. So what does that look like for you? Does that like take more of your time?
I mean, production, there's no shortcut to the time that takes.
Yeah.
Which is why I struggle sometimes with like when I'm like doing demos all the time. Like, I want to make this a record, I don't have time.
Yeah.
But it's a demo, it's not a record.
That's hard it's hard to know though.
Yeah, it's hard to know. Especially when you love a song and you're like, okay, I have to stop spending time on this.
Well, sometimes you just go in anyway.
Sometimes you just go in anyway.
Got to.
I did that at the very beginning of my career for like every song, and I'm actually glad I did, but I would spend so long on demos.
Yeah.
So long.
Yeah.
But that's how you get better. No time is wasted at the beginning because you're learning.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the biggest benefit when you get started is that you're young and you just have time. And
you're excited.
Yeah. You're not jaded yet.
You're not jaded. You're so excited.
But the time.
I know.
Because it just takes so much time.
There's no shortcut to that. Yeah. It's just like hours are required.
Yeah. Yep. So as you're doing like production stuff now, are there people that do you like rely only on yourself, or will you like get something close and like send it to a mentor or something and be like, does this sound good?
As far as production?
Yeah.
I'll always bounce it off of people.
Yeah.
Friends and other producer friends and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I've been gathering like friends of mine that play on stuff that I love their sounds and like what they do. So like I have like a little arsenal of players that I love to use.
Yeah.
On stuff that I'm not a professional musician, so
right.
When I'm not playing, I have them.
Yeah.
And that helps.
For sure.
yeah, I definitely like to bounce stuff off of other people.
Yeah.
But usually it's like, I'll know if it's not good enough and they'll just like confirm it, you know?
What do they say?
They'll be like,
it's not there yet.
They'll be like, they'll give me a note and I'll be like, yeah, I knew it. I just needed to hear it from someone else.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know that. I don't know what that's like, but it seems like that would be hard.
It's just a lot of like learning to listen to the intuition. Cause like our gut always knows, even if it's an inconvenient thing that our gut is telling us. Mm-hmm. I think our gut always knows like what could be improved or like what is right, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm constantly learning that.
Yeah.
For myself. It's like my intuition is almost always right.
Always.
So
I'm so thankful for our intuition.
Yeah. Even when I'm writing or if I'm listening back to something, you know, someone will say, hey, check out this mix. I will just listen. And like the first two things that I think are usually always like, what's wrong with it?
Right.
Or not.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But it's like, I don't know how that works.
Right.
But it's something.
That's cool. Thank God. I don't know how we would do it without intuition.
That's all we got.
Like blind, just.
Yeah. Well, I mean, songwriting, all that stuff, it's taste.
Yeah, it is.
At the end of the day.
Right.
And that's what makes it so hard, you know?
Right.
Especially as you go further and further, we're just, the difference, right? You say like, we don't need another good song.
Right.
The difference between a song being a thing that sits in a pile on someone's computer for all time and like being, you know, hopefully something that makes an impact on the world is like, it's like the difference is like this small.
Right.
It's really hard though.
And it's really hard. It's so rare.
Yeah. It's like that. And then I just trying to make peace with the waiting.
Yeah.
That's what's been killing me recently.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you got this cut coming out. Mm-hmm. It's like a year goes
the patience. By. No, it's literally so long. It's like a year.
Like, is it still coming out?
Yeah. A year. And then if it's a single, another year. And then by the time you get paid, another year.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You gotta have patience for sure.
Yeah. Well, what kind of, I don't know, advice would you give to like...
Oh, I like this question.
Yeah. Younger you.
Younger me. I would, and everyone who's starting out.
Yeah.
I would say, like learn your craft and like study because there's so much to learn.
Yeah.
And to have a good vibe, I think, is so important.
You've always had a very good vibe.
Thanks, Troy.
Always been great vibes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like it's important.
It is.
Because there's so many talented people. No one wants to work with an asshole.
No.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
God, there's so much advice to give.
Yeah.
I think to like we were saying, like listening to your gut, whether it's like with a certain new artist that you may, or writer that you may be working with, like, do you believe in them? Maybe they don't have nothing going on, but like, do you have a feeling about them?
Oh.
And you have to trust that.
That's good.
Even if it's someone that's like popping off that you don't think is like, listen to that too.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we have so little time and everyone's going to want our time. Everyone's going to be like, can you do this session? Can you do this session? Which is an honor to be asked for sessions.
No
but
doubt.
You have to like kind of be an A&R at some point and be like, there's something about them that I don't really vibe with or align with, or they have nothing going on and I really think that they will have something going on, so I'm going to work with them.
Yeah. That's sick.
It's just like,
I haven't heard that before.
That's
I like that. Yeah. Your intuition in that way is important.
Yeah. And I'm sure we can be wrong, but
oh yeah. But if you're wrong, but
at least you made the decision.
Yeah.
At least you can blame yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you've been in Nashville for 12 years. You've done, Grammy nominated, hit songwriter, done all this stuff. What do you think, what do you want the next 12 years to look like?
Oh,
you like what you're doing? I
do like what I'm doing. I want to keep doing that.
Yeah.
And I think influencing the culture and inspiring my peers has been the coolest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
And so to do more projects like that and work with artists that are brave enough to like do something different and, you know, break the mold a little bit is very rewarding.
Yeah.
And kind of what I'm the most interested in.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to like work with my friends at some kind of company at some point.
Yeah.
I think Big Loud is such a good model for that. Whatever I would do, I don't know, but like it would be cool to like be a part of something like that at some point.
Like to get to like sign writers and stuff, or what do you mean?
And just like, yeah, and be a part of something that's like bigger than just my own career.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I dream the same dream.
Yeah,
it's like I have it written on a note card on my monitor.
That's cool.
It's like
I love that.
It's like, what is how do you make something that's bigger than you? You know, whether that's a company,
right,
or whatever it is. Like that's kind of the thing that I'm always looking for.
Right.
You know.
Right. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. I mean, that's what songwriting is. That's what all this stuff is. But you know, in my life, like I think that it's like, how do you make something resonate
and louder? Like last?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you look at like Big Loud and it's like, this is crazy.
Yeah. And they started from such a small company. I mean, they were always like winners and they always bet right. But like, look what they built. I know.
And like, they're 20 years in. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the crazy, like it's easy to go, they came out of nowhere, but it's like, no, it's 20 years in. Yeah. And like, it's 20 years of, making smart bets. Right. And also just like learning by the time it got to Morgan.
And they were always like outside the box. Like they were always, I love Nashville for so many reasons, but I think the biggest flaw of Nashville is that we are stuck in time a little bit. Yeah. So
I agree.
I think that's why Big Loud is.
They're crushing it.
Yeah, crushing.
Because they're, I feel like they're making artists.
They are.
If that makes sense.
And their ears for A&R, like Seth and Joey and like everyone who picks songs. Yeah. They're so, I mean, yes, they know what they're doing. Yeah. A&R, I feel like the art of A&R is like somewhat dead in a way.
Yeah. Well, it's gotten weirder. Yeah. It's gotten really weird because I feel like short form content, TikTok, whatever came along.
Yeah. It disrupted it.
And it made it, it made it seem easy. I think that's what happened. Yeah. It was like, well, this song's huge. Right. Because it went viral. Right. And then that person gets signed. And then what, like, how many times is it like, oh, there, it turns out it was the one, there was nothing else there, you know, and that's nobody's fault.
Right. But it's very confusing.
It's very confusing. But like the things that have lasted are like artists. Right. And like, in order to have artists, you have to develop them. Right. You know, you look at an artist like Hardy. Right. It's a good example. It's like, look at where he started. Yeah. Look at where he is now. Yeah. You know, that's years of development.
Sure. And him being authentic to himself and taking the risks.
And then letting him be, not that you need anyone's permission to be authentic, but like, I was signed. It's very hard to be yourself. Right. You know,
and to know what you even are. Like,
yeah. It's like a mind. I can't tell you how many meetings I would go into and they'd be like, well, you either are or you aren't. And whatever you think is what it is. And I'm like, is this advice? like I'm just scared right now. Like I feel like I'm having to solve a Mad Lib to like figure out if this song's coming out or not. You know what I mean?
I could never be an artist. That sounds,
you know, it's
not my,
it was an interesting experience.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot and I'm grateful for all of it. So
you had some bangers.
Still do.
Let's go.
Yep. You wrote on Cake for Breakfast, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Banger.
I love that song.
Oh, dude, me too.
Party special.
Yes. It's amazing. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Troy. This was so fun.
And yeah. All right. That's it. That's the pod. See you later. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of 10-Year Town. If you're still listening, you must have liked it. So we hope that you will leave us a rating or review on Apple or Spotify, or give us a subscription on YouTube. It's all free. Don't cost you nothing.
But we appreciate you being here, and thank you for supporting the 10-Year Town community. See you next week.